Hi, and welcome to OpenText Connection Summit 2021. I'm Bob Slavin. I lead the product marketing efforts here at OpenText for our IoT Internet of Things platform. And today we're joined by a great group of guys to talk about the essential steps needed to implement an IoT-based shipment intelligence platform and how IoT can be a game changer for supply chain visibility. And so I'm going to let Andrew and Anthony introduce themselves. They're going to be walking you through the questions. We're going to be talking through some supply chain and how to get started. And then after Anthony, after you're done introducing yourself, Tim, go ahead and introduce yourself. So Andrew, over to you.
So my name is Andrew Amu, and my colleague here, Anthony Penwright. We both run IoT and digitization advisory services firm here in the UK. We have both worked and consulted on over 30 smart city and IoT implementations worldwide. And we're here to lend our experience to this summit.
Yeah, hi everyone. Anthony Penwright here, also from the UK. Thanks for the introduction, Andrew, and glad to be here to talk you through some of our experiences and the lessons we've learned on the way. Tim?
Hi, everybody. I'm Tim Ebevold, Director of Solution Consulting here at OpenText, specifically focusing in on IoT capability sets and supply chain and operational excellence. Have many years of experience within supply chain and leveraging IoT and real-time capabilities across the ecosystem to deliver value for our customers. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Tim. And I'm Bob Slavin. I lead the marketing efforts here for IoT at OpenText. I've got 25 years experience and more spanning civilian and military. I've connected everything from a trash can to entire cities. So I want to dive right in and start talking about quickly about some of the challenges and some industry IoT challenges. You know, IoT can be tough. You know, it's got a difficult developer experience, and really what that means is, customers expect things to be seamless and effortless and also secure. But this is really, really tough. And it's sometimes shortcuts happen and customers are not satisfied. And it's really difficult to achieve in this space. And also you have some chaotic ecosystems. As each connected device is released, adopted, it creates another dashboard, another screen, something else to control. A system's mature piece of connected hardware will have to plug into these ecosystems, be API driven. IoT devices must do so through a consolidated interface, given that single pane of glass, that single version of the truth. And this keeps the developers and the customers and your stakeholders from feeling fragmented and isolated from the rest of the enterprise. And then also, security is the watchword, and it's on the top minds of IT pros and also boardrooms. Now more than ever, organizations are struggling to keep up. There used to be a thing called, shadow devices. It happened with the consumerization of smartphones. Now you have, shadow IoT. And so how do you secure this posture? How can you, build this effortless and seamless interaction of devices, these people, systems, and things? Your IoT solutions must address these security concerns and be ready for them as the next evolution and this next extended ecosystem of devices are out there. And so we're going to be talking about the pressing issues around supply chain. So I'm going to be somewhat the master of ceremonies as the leaders in the space start talking through these things, as Andrew, Anthony, and Tim start talking about these things. So what is top of mind? So Anthony, I'm going to come to you first. What is the first step you see in augmenting supply chain operations with IoT?
Thanks, Bob. So for me, the first step, regardless of the business practice, is securing sponsorship from all of the required stakeholders. This is often, and probably moreover, all the way from the CX level down to the operational team members. To secure sponsorship, organizations should be clear on their existing process, or what we call in the term the as is, and also look wider at the foundational technology enablers already in place that can be augmented or utilized to move forward with things like smart supply chain. There should be a broad focus, not just covering technology, but actually the people, the processes, and the tools used to underpin and support that. On top of those things, identifying benefits and aligning the transformation outcomes towards company and strategy goals will always help the business case and get 2B buy-in from some of the senior stakeholders. Most supply chain implementations often face difficulties in presenting clear pathways for IoT enablement in their service, particularly because it's a traditional practice to do it as they're doing it today. This is where we tend to come in and deal with some customers. So one of the key things that we do is obviously, deliver advisory services. Our customers feel once they've had that experience that it truly holds value. Hiring subject matter experts or consultants from consulting organizations will often be the difference between success and failure.
Oh, thank you very much. You're right. It is a very disruptive technology. IoT can be very much so. So Tim, I'm going to come to you on this one. Tell us about some of the challenges you've seen in deploying and integrating IoT to supply chain operations.
Sure. Actually, what we see a lot of people struggling on where to start and where to take advantage of this technology in improving supply chain operations. And they see that the ROI can be too protracted, that it costs too much to get started, and alternately doesn't really scale across their entire fleet or their entire span of operations. And this is often driven by focusing too much on the device or the technology rather than the objectives and results that are desired. And then once you have that, look at what processes and information flows need to change. And Anthony called out several of those key points, right? So getting that good start. By doing this, you can see where IoT data can add the required value that's needed. And this helps you identify where devices are already in use by some of your partners and taking advantage of those and how can you leverage them? And then also where do you need to augment and drive automation? Lastly, devices and or real-time data do not drive value in and of itself. You need to be able to get that information into the hands of the right person who can take action or trigger information or automation to reduce efforts and or delays. So in order to make sure that you're attaining that value, focus on a couple key capabilities. One is around dynamic orchestration, recognizing that it's not just a device, it's what's collecting and where is this going. So an ecosystem of interaction requires dynamic control of what things can do and to whom and with whom and when. Secondarily, recognize that it's not just the devices, it's the people. People need that information. So making sure that you're authenticating and command and control of your ecosystem across the complex web of relationships between people, devices, and information.
Thank you, Tim. And you're right, there is no one size fits all for IoT, and you definitely want to get data to the caring and the qualified. So now I'm going to come to Andrew. Which teams within an organization are typically involved with these types of projects? Does it start with IT, line of business, operating technology? Can you break some of this down for us?
Yes, thanks, Bob. I think it's important to note that no two organizations will have the same structure or culture. And we have seen that IoT and smart projects have started to call for a greater convergence of all of these multidisciplinary teams to enable success. We've also seen a greater need for foundational requirements on the convergence of IT, OT, and also the business support functions to ensure that the desired outcomes are achieved. So I would say stakeholders should be called from every affected area in order to ensure that you've got buy-in and provide accountability for awareness and the education of their peers. And this enables teams to have a proper sense of being involved and ownership of this area. I think we also need to look further into the business, because it is important here that with a lot of IoT projects, you get a sense of fear coming up in the employee structure due to the view that their tasks will be replaced by machines. And so assessing the cultural impact and the skills required will enable a company to provide retraining to its staff, ensure that the teams are aware and that all new skills are provided to enable the benefits to this new service.
Thank you, Andrew. You're right. And IoT projects cannot survive in a vacuum, and they need the people to definitely drive them forward. And so coming back to you, Tim, I think you hit on this, beyond the security of the endpoint device, which you mentioned, what else is essential to identify and secure in these deployments?
Yeah, while endpoint security is important, it remains a large threat profile across the information flow from and through these devices. So to ensure robust security, you need to ensure that the entire data flow and use are protected and auditable. So you need to be able to say, yeah, this is a valid device, valid information, but then the application that received it is valid and that it passed it on to a user and that user was valid and authenticated, and be able to do that start to finish, hop to hop, okay? That's often missed. So this can only be done by managing that entire digital ecosystem, not just authenticating a device or a user, actually managing the relationship of all the people, systems, and things. And at OpenText, we manage the entire life cycle of every entity within an IoT ecosystem, people, systems, and things. We also manage the relationship between these entities. This ensures that only valid devices can process valid traffic to valid applications to be seen and used by valid people. By having that ecosystem management, we enable dynamic security context. So again, as I said, only valid people, valid devices, valid information, real-time visibility, where it is in that information, how it's being used and by whom, and the ability to generate alerts and notifications to the right people. Not only that there's an issue, but also to start getting that value that, hey, data condition from this device and or this application requires action. So a direct notification to a user or a direct automation to an application.
Oh, thank you, Tim. You're right. Data quality from these solutions does somewhat begin with device validation. So coming over to you, Anthony, as Tim mentioned, sending that data to the enterprise systems, what steps should be taken to enable seamless integration to backend systems? I know there's a lot of different kinds of backend systems. So can you just kind of share some of your experience in this space?
Yes, so I mean, firstly, integration is always a challenge within the technology domain. I think many of the customers and organizations supporting that will often realize that. It's the challenge of coupling legacy systems with new technology that often proves difficult. With IoT, there's also added complexity on top of this, with the fact that edge technology from sensor perspective is often delivered by multiple sensor providers. This creates further diversity over the integration requirements, not just with the technology or the protocols, but actually the organizations, the commercial contracts, and the people. For true value to be realized, though, data should always be delivered not only from sensors, but also we should consider what data value can come from other systems. These are systems such as IT systems, OT systems, and even looking wider to open data where appropriate. These could be things like, traffic data, mobility data, weather data. Wherever we can use data that's already out there and we can integrate it to enhance the delivery of our services, we should always consider this to be of value. Modern platforms like the OpenText IoT platform, they enable seamless protocol agnostic integration to happen. And not only can it happen in more simpler terms, but actually it happens in a much shorter time frame. From an organization perspective, it's all about gaining awareness and education and trying to get procurement to a maturity level that enables extensibility. So if we think about where we are today, standards in IoT are ever evolving, and so too with communication technology. We've got to ensure that when procuring new infrastructure and systems, that we align them to these open standards to enable integration to have a chance and be less challenging. This doesn't always, though, Bob, mean rip and replace of systems. It could be that there's new things, new technology available and innovation available to convert what is serial data into IP digital data that can be made of use.
Right. Thank you very much, Anthony. So, and I'm going to come back to you, Andrew. And can you tell us some of the benefits that you've seen in augmenting supply chain or asset operations with IoT? I know that it was mentioned previously, like augmenting things with like weather or market or other things around this disruption, but can you tell us about supply chain or asset management operations and how they benefit from IoT?
Bob, sure. In our experience, augmenting supply chain with IoT would enable a company to become situationally aware through the monitoring in real time of his assets and process performance. This in turn enables stakeholders to make informed decisions, which will in turn have the effect of allowing the organization itself to become efficient. Other benefits that we have seen enabled usually are things like cost efficiencies, ease of service transformation or change, enhanced employee productivity, improved customer experiences, commercial maturity with suppliers and also with the clients. And this in effect actually has the effect of moving from legacy type contracts to performance based ones, whereby you generate the benefit to your profit and loss. Because obviously, if you're hitting performance targets and stuff like that, you're actually able to show how efficient you are, etc. Another aspect, I guess, is that IoT encourages companies to rethink how they approach their businesses, and it enables the innovation stimulus within the organization. It provides the tools to improve the business strategies, and it also enables, and this is key, it enables stakeholders to access information from anywhere at any time. So you're not restricted to runs or, it's real time and it's there.
Thank you, Andrew. And I think this segues nicely into this next question for Anthony is, what are the benefits of using a cloud-based IoT platform as companies start to examine a new way to do business? Can you give us some of the benefits?
Yeah, absolutely, Bob. So cloud platforms, what they are traditionally built for is to enable organizations to deliver as a service capabilities and contracts. This ensures that customers only pay an optimized fee for the services and infrastructure that they consume. There is also other benefits alongside doing that are outside the commercial space. So some of the key benefits offered by cloud platforms in this modern era are, one is the dynamic horizontal scalability. Now that is both up and down. So in times of influx of a requirement for more capacity, better performance and things like that, cloud platforms can scale and grow with the business and indeed scale down if things are quieter over time. So think about adapting to things like COVID. Actually, if we've slowed our business down or indeed we've ramped it up, cloud platforms are there to support us in doing that. Another one is extensibility through cloud platforms. They can deliver both extensive and adaptive service capabilities. So they're forever growing, people are forever contributing, and they're a forever growing ecosystem. Most of them have marketplaces, and we're able to plug into them and actually share value across multiple organizations and customers and harness that in secure tenant-based ways. Another way is availability. So the concern for having solid business continuity and disaster recovery plans, which are very expensive, and in case of, actually what we have now is high availability through in-country data centers that give you a provision of integrity and performance over your data. On the performance basis, we now have geolocated options. Often cloud providers are spinning up data centers everywhere, wherever your business is going to be. There's definitely a geolocated service probably to support you that gives you close proximity and gives you a benefit of high performance wherever you are around the globe. Another aspect is within modern day cloud platforms, we've moved to a security as standard has become the foundational part of all service provisions. All major cloud providers would sit and stand there now and go, we do deliver security as standards, because it's an approach to their business, because it's not only for their customers to be protected, but actually, if you think about the integrity of their name, their brand and their cloud business, often they'll have multiple of millions of customers connected into their services, and keeping that reputation alive is of key focus to them. Specifically for IoT, one of the key benefits that we've seen for customers is the enablement of zero-touch provisioning for sensors to customers' tenants. So if you think about, the ability to get a device powered and connect it to an environment, sometimes that could take weeks and months. With new advances in technologies in a secure way, we can now pre-configure a device pretty quickly, and then upon pairing it up, it can go to its nearest support tenant and be provisioned in your service and appear as online within a matter of minutes these days. So that really helps organizations become efficient with things that are, a general common problem for complexity on the ground.
Thank you very much. And Tim, coming back to you, what recommendations would you make for companies that are, might be thinking of implementing their IoT project, examining requirements? Where should they start?
Yeah, an IoT technology can be a key enabler to achieving strategic goals and delivering real-time actionable data. However, as with many new technologies, it's very complex and can often yield more expense than value. And you heard throughout the discussion things that you should focus on: objectives, priorities, and the change management. Okay, and that's because IoT technology crosses both the physical and the technology environments, and that brings a unique set of challenges. To be successful, you need to make sure that the IT project is not that. It's not a project or seen as an IT initiative. You need to build a comprehensive approach that covers the 5 pillars of IoT: the device, its connectivity, the data streams, and how you turn that into intelligence and purpose. OpenText has extensive real-world experience in IoT and developing and delivering these values, and dealing with the challenges of where to start and how to get there. And we've developed what we call an IoT capability appraisal. And the appraisal can help your company executives with a straightforward, actionable result that answers the critical questions of: where do we want to go? Where are we today? What will tomorrow look like? What will it mean for the business? And what's the strategy to get there? And we do this through an agile and iterative methodology that ensures a comprehensive result while demanding the minimum amount of your staff's time. It ensures everyone's aligned because they've seen those iterative deliverables come to life and the opportunity to weigh in before the final report. This methodology delivers a final deliverable that lays out where you are, where you need to go, and why. And so you can chart your future with confidence based on facts. Look forward to helping you.
Oh, thank you, Tim. Yeah, I like that pragmatic approach, and being there and addressing those concerns at the gate start. So, so this one's actually for me. So, where can this audience learn more about the OpenText IoT platform? Well, a couple of different ways. But before we do that, I want to show kind of some examples of what we've all been talking about here, which is leveraging IoT to improve that shipment visibility, getting that shipment intelligence. So as you can see here, this is a screen that shows this B2B documentation. You have orders coming in, orders going out. So it could be OpenText active orders, or it could be another framework of order management. And then you can see a B2B transaction-based map view. And this is where something had taken place. It's populated in this Google map. But when you link that with IoT, you start to close some of those gaps. And you can see right here that we can link this data, the shipment data, back to an actual ASN and deliver other context-driven data. So you can start to see the temperature or how things were treated in shipment, whether, what's germane to the shipment. As Tim alluded to earlier, there is no one size fits all. So getting that needs assessment and that evaluation on defining what you need to measure is can't be understated. So, but our platform stands ready to be able to take all sorts of context in there, as we mentioned, about augmenting the shipment visibility with IoT. So you can learn about the OpenText IoT trial. So we do have a trial for you to kick the tires, build and test your solutions, test the capabilities, and connect with solution consultants, connect with the smart team that Tim is a part of to help you move from those POCs, those proof of concepts, to tactical and strategic use cases. As Tim mentioned, where are you today? Start small, land and expand. How can you add additional use cases? So we have a platform trial. This is the URL for it. So you can go there and sign up and see how our OpenText IoT platform can work best for you. And with that, I want to thank everybody for their time today and everybody for the great discussion. There's the URL for our industrial IoT page on the business network side. So I encourage everyone to go there and consume and take a look at our different kinds of solutions, from our supply chain solutions to our asset solutions, and also the foundational ones that Tim mentioned around secure device management or ecosystem integration, unified messaging, or dashboarding to get that actionable insights. So I want to thank everybody for their time today. Thank you, Anthony, Andrew, Tim, and thank you everyone for attending this Connections Summit. And if you have any questions, you can definitely reach out to us and we'll gladly help you out. So thank you very much.